We're gonna get going. I gotta look at my time because I do a little time stampy so that people don't have to listen to this on YouTube. Hi, welcome to day 3 of the chronic pain solution. Today we are going to be answering the question, can I get better? And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, you can indeed get better. Now, we may have different ideas of what better means, and we're going to talk about that, but the answer is you can get better. Life does not have to be as catastrophically awful as it is today. And I am living proof of that, as is Rebecca and many others in this group. But the answer is we do not have to continue to suffer and be in so much physical and emotional pain as we are in. And so in order to answer that question, we have to take a look at our nervous systems and what they do. So in case this is your first time meeting me, hi, my name is Amy Eicher. I'm a chronic pain coach and best-selling author, and I help motivated women through education, self-discovery, and movement figure out how to live life on their terms and in a life that they want to be living. So that's what I do. What do you do? Tell me what you guys do, and that may be stay-at-home mom, that may be stay at home and take care of myself, my neighbor, my cousin, my uncle, my aunt. You might have like a really exciting job. Tell me what you do in the comments. Oh, I want to be with Georgie today. Man, she's got organic coffee, a pinch of Celtic salt, coconut cream with coconut sugar. If you could just pour that right in here, that'd be, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Not gonna lie. You guys have some interesting jobs. And interesting coffee. I feel like I need to taste that now. All right. Let's do the Facebooky stuff. Remember to comment when you have questions. Remember to hit the like button and, tag a friend that, if you don't see them on this morning and you know that you invited them or, you heard them say they wanted to find us, do me a favor, tag them. Remember to be entered for that scholarship. You need to do the homework every day. I am a softie, so if you forgot to do day 2's homework and you did day 1, do it. Quick. Don't do it now because you're on live and we're learning about why we can get better. But, do it at 11:15 when we're done. I'm a non-professional uneducated. Sandra, we need to come up with a name for that because I have a feeling there is way more than one of us in here that has that same job. And I'm going to guess it's also an unpaid internship that you're in there as a non-professional uneducated psychologist to your friends. Sandra, I know we have never talked on the phone or over a Zoom, but my God, I love your sense of humor. You are just such a blessing to this group. You always say the best things. So thank you for being part of this group. Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, what was I saying? I was saying fill out your homework so you can get an opportunity to win a highly discounted opportunity to get into Moving Beyond Pain, which will open tomorrow. I will let you know people have been signing up early, so if you are already familiar with Moving Beyond Pain and are considering it, do get in contact with me. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. It's relevant to today, but not really. We've got way more to talk about. So do your homework so you can get a chance to win a scholarship. Comment replay if you're watching us at the end, and please forgive me for being scatterbrained. Because I was up late. Well, not late. I woke up in the middle of the night and then couldn't get back to sleep. And so my brain is not where I would like it to be for you all right now. So I'm going to take a hot second to take a deep breath. Why don't you take one with me? And then we're going to get rolling on content. I like big ones in and out. And I close my eyes because it helps me with distraction. Let's take one more. Okay, what you just witnessed was me calming my nervous system. because I don't like doing a poor job for you guys. I want to do a really good job and give you all the information you need so you can get better. And not sleeping made me feel insecure. So I reminded myself I was safe, took some deep breaths, and I'm feeling ready to go. All right. So the question that we're answering today is, can I get better? And I already told you the answer was yes. Now, I would like to challenge the idea of what better means, right? Because for most of us, we don't really know, we don't have like a broken arm that's healing. We don't have, we don't have a tumor that's going to be taken out and then we're going to heal from surgery and everything's going to be better, right? We've got things like arthritis and that elusive degenerative disc disease, which is not a disease. And we probably have some nervous system stuff. I'm just going to call it stuff for now. We'll hash it out more today, but nervous system stuff going on. And really, I think for most of us, while the pain is no fun, right? None of us want to live with this kind of pain. But if we could get rid of the distress and the fear and like how teeny tiny it makes our lives, maybe the pain wouldn't be quite so bad. And almost everybody, when they answer the questions on like coming into the group, the thing that they want is they want their life back. Now, we've been led to believe that in order to get our lives back, we have to be out of pain to do that. And I'm going to suggest that our constant pursuit to stamp out pain without addressing all of the issues is part of the reason that we are indeed still in pain. It's part. Nothing I say is ever the whole of the picture, right? And I think that that's really important to remember when you're listening to me, is I am offering you bits and pieces of what is in the cup. Dottie, who tells us, dang it, Georgia, am I remembering from yesterday right? Please tell me your preferred name again. But in her coffee, which sounded so fantastic this morning, to make it the way that she wanted it this morning is the organic coffee. There's also a pinch of salt and a little bit of coconut creamer and a little bit of coconut sugar. She's got a lot of stuff in there to make her coffee the way that she wants it today. My internet connection is bad. We've got terrible weather over here, so if my voice is in and out, it may not be you, it may be me today. But she's got a bunch of different things in her coffee, and it is the same way for what I'm going to call our nervous system. Okay, so the reality is our nervous system has what is called an action potential. Please hang with me on the slightly sciencey bit here. But in order for pain to happen, it's a chemical reaction in our body with an action potential. And the cup represents the amount of stuff that needs to be present before the pain signal goes off. So yesterday we talked about a bunch of people that went through MRIs and they found all kinds of different tissue stuff that they find on us. But I said, those people don't have pain. Well, their cups are only this full, and in order for the pain to be recognized, the cup needs to overflow. So the problem is described as either our cups are too small or our cups are too full, because the size of the cup doesn't really matter. If it's too full, it's going to overflow and we're going to experience pain because that action potential is going to go off. Does that make sense? I really want to do a cartoon explainer of that someday because I think it's a little confusing. But let's talk about a couple things in regards to the cup, right? So a neuronormative person has a decent-sized cup before their pain goes off. Somebody that's neurotypical, right? So you're a little neurospicy. Maybe you got some autism. Maybe you got some ADHD. Maybe you got some extra brain cells and you're on, the highly intelligent end of the spectrum. Our cups are smaller because of those situations. So in the how we get better, one of those things is making your cup bigger. And we talk all about that in Moving Beyond Pain, and I talk about it in other places on my website and things. And so you can get more information about that. We'll go into it a little bit tomorrow. But the idea is you need to make a bigger cup. You need to have more tissue tolerance. You need to have more mental tolerance. And that is how you build a bigger cup. When we're first starting to deal with chronic pain, usually the easier thing to do is to get stuff out of the cup. Because if we can make more room, then the pain doesn't really matter. And I always put our biological diagnosis way down at the bottom of the cup. Because you know what? I'm not getting rid of my arthritis that's in my neck. That's just going to live there. That's going to be what it is. If I've got labral tears in my shoulder from swimming, I don't know that they're there. If I had an MRI, we might find out. But they're there and they're not bothering me because my cup isn't full anymore. And I built a bigger cup. So I have a much bigger cup and it's not full all the time anymore. Now, also remember that pain is a natural state. We're supposed to experience pain. We're not supposed to experience chronic pain. Chronic pain is funky and it's a thing of its own, but like we can't be 100% pain-free because that would be very, very dangerous. We need to experience pain to know when to stop doing things, to know that we are injured, to know that we need to rest, right? And I contend that when we have chronic physical pain, often, but not always, there is something in our life that needs tending that we are ignoring. We may not know that it's caught, like it's part of our cup, but there is something that we are ignoring that needs our attention. And this is the brain's way of protecting the meat sack. My friend Brittany loves when I talk about it that way. But, you know, we're skin and bone and flesh, and some of us think we're spirit and soul, and some of us don't, and it's okay. And we're allowed to believe whatever we want here in this group, and we let others believe what they want to. Dottie's saying she tries to stay away from foods with pesticides and colors, and she seems to notice that those trigger more pain. There are a lot of people that will find food will sensitize their nervous systems. That is one of the things that we can look at. We meaning you, me, and everybody else listening. Nutrition is not my area of expertise. I have a little bit of knowledge, but not a lot. But I do know that inflammatory and histamine foods can be a part of our pain picture. A little out of order, but when I was in my pain years, I used to crave coffee with creamer and a croissant every morning. And I would come to find out that I was feeding my serotonin need that was low because of being in chronic pain. So if you find yourself craving carbs and sugars, there's a good chance that that is partially because of your pain, but it's also like, so you're craving the serotonin that you're getting from those foods, and that's, I think it's serotonin. We'll have to fact check that later. But we're getting neurotransmitters that we need from those foods as opposed to medications, but then they're also increasing inflammation in our body, and that is something that the nervous system tends to not like. It's a little bit like the ever encroaching younger sibling on those car trips that keeps taking up your space in the back seat, in case you've experienced that. That's what inflammation in our bodies is like, and so those nerve endings get really pissy. And so things that we can do to cut inflammation can help us not hurt so bad. Now, I promised you practical solutions during this workshop, and I would like to submit for your consideration things that can help improve inflammation beyond medications. Nothing wrong with medications. If they are helping, take them. Take them. There is no shame in being medicated in this group. Okay, we have no medicine shame. However, being lonely or feeling lonely, so maybe you are in a marriage like the one that I was in for 23 years, and you are married and you have a partner, but you feel very alone. Because that is a very real thing that happens to women apparently all over TikTok. I fell on that side of TikTok for a while, and there are a lot of lonely women out there. But you feel alone even though, you're in an office building, even though you have a partner. That is not great for your inflammation. That is a pro-inflammatory state, the state of being alone. And somebody asked me the other day, Amy, where do you draw your information from? And the answer to that is behavioral sciences, psychological sciences, kinesiology, which is movement of the body, as well as just the actual biological sciences. So PT, neuroscience, but then I guess technically I also draw from some orthopedic journals when I'm reading. So I run the gamut of the research that I choose to look at when it comes to pain science, because, the behavioral science research that's coming out is very, very, very different from the physical therapy researchers, right? Like that's really, really different research, but it's all pain and it's important that we know about it. So, I wandered too far. So inflammation. So the idea that isolation causes inflammation comes from, the more psychology and behavioral science part of this. But when you think about it, when animals get hurt, they crawl away and they isolate when they're injured, right? And so we have a tendency to do the same as humans. We isolate, and then that's not great because it's really hard to be supported in our challenges if we feel alone. It's hard to ask for the things we need. And I'm going to offer for your consideration that I don't think a situation where I feel alone, but there are other people around me that I should be able to ask for help, and we'll talk about shoulding later, but that feels very unsafe to me. So because I feel unsafe, my nervous system is going to be on the lookout for dangers. And one of the things during that time period that my body saw as danger was this SI joint pain and narrative that I had going on, right? So every time I would hurt, I would be more concerned about the fact that my SI joint was out and that it was dislocated and that I wasn't going to be able to walk and I wasn't going to be able to do the things, and then I didn't have any help and I felt alone, and then I ate more sugar and carbs, and then I stuffed my own needs and my own feelings and my own emotions down, right? Is anybody relating to this? If you are relating, can you just put relate in the comments if you relate to any part of this cycle that I was in? So, and then I'm not sleeping because I'm worried and I'm scared and I'm scared in my sleep, and I've been told that I can sleep wrong, so I've got to keep this pillow between my knees or my pelvis is going to like fly off my body. So now I'm not sleeping and I feel alone and I'm eating foods that are influencing inflammation, and I'm worried about all these narratives and it's exhausting. Oh my God, it's exhausting. I am tired just thinking about that. Like, I know you guys are there with me. And we've got to break in there someplace. So we need to find people, which is part of why we've got this group, right? Like, it's really important that we connect with others in this group so that we're not alone. I make no lie that folks like Christine Natali, who is, I think she's still in the group. I'm not sure. She's been doing well with Flying Colors for a very long time now. But like, we became so close. We had our own private Facebook group with about 10 women, and we talked all the time, and we understood each other, and we helped each other through some very, very rough times, and we lived all across the globe, really. And it was, Facebook was a much friendlier place then. But it was those online friendships that saved my life during the end of those pain years for me. And, you know, Christy, thank you again. Rebecca, if you could tag Christy, because I keep talking about her, that would be great. Christy Natali, N-A-T, and that should pop her name up for you. But, you know, Christy ended up on her own adventure and in trying to figure out chronic pain, and she was the one that really introduced me to the book Explain Pain, which was the book that started all of this, that I, you know, in a lot of interviews you'll hear me say I threw against the wall because I was so angry and so frustrated that I had suffered for this long and nobody had told me, which is why I tell you all now. Shannon, thank you. And I really do try to keep this group a very safe space because I think that that's super important. All right, so we can improve inflammation by sleeping, by making connection, by maybe balancing our carb sugar with some protein. We need protein. Protein is really important. We need to eat some protein. So I'm not going to say ditch your carbs and your sugars, because when Rebecca started moving beyond pain, she like tried to cut out an enormous amount of things all at once and found that increased her pain and made her really frustrated. And I said, yeah, I bet it did. We can't make a bunch of changes at once. That's a threat to the nervous system, and we're trying to keep it calm. So baby changes. We do baby changes at a time. I know everybody hears this stuff and you want to put it all in place at once. Please don't do that. It's not good. It rarely goes well. Rarely goes well. So little baby steps at a time. All right. So the nervous system and its role in chronic pain is really an enormous topic that I could talk about this every day for an hour for like 3 months and still not cover it all. I understand that, and I am so sorry that I cannot just like download all of this information at once. I would love to, but there's a reason Moving Beyond Pain is 6 months long. There's a lot to learn. And so what I want to know is, when I say nervous system, what parts, yes, baby, that is so true. It was a very good idea in theory, just not really great in application, doing everything at once. It's kind of like remodeling a house all at once, and if you tear out like the bedroom, the kitchen, the laundry room, and everything else, like all at once, you have no place to live, and that's very stressful. We don't like to do that. For anybody that's done a kitchen remodel, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so what is the nervous system? What comprises the human nervous system? Rebecca Towers, don't you dare answer until it is quiet. But I am curious what those of you watching would label as the nervous system. And I will tell you, don't worry. Yeah. Oh. And while you guys are typing, I'm gonna find my piece of paper that I wrote our winner down on, because I think it's a good read. Adrian Coleman is going to win a copy of Restoring Venus from Chronic Pain to Possibilities. So Adrian's going to win that. Do me a favor, Rebecca, if you would tag her. Yeah, okay. I really, oh no, I don't want to do that. Really hate when we accidentally let spammers onto the site. That's a bummer. So Rebecca, hold that tagging, and if you could take care of our spammy visitor, that would be great. Go ahead and just block. Not a fan of that. Adrian, I'm going to tag you right now because I think you live in Canada and who knows where you are, but you won a copy of my book, Adrienne. Is that going to, nope, that's not going to pull it up. Did I spell it right? Yes, I did. Okay, well, maybe she left the group. If she left the group, I will draw somebody. I will draw 2 people tomorrow. New comment. My goodness. It's one of those mornings. I am so sorry for anybody watching this on Yep. Thank you. Um, Charlotte, please exit the group. We are not here to talk about illegal methods of dealing with pain. If those of you who have questions about microdosing, please talk to your psychologists. That's who is going to be dealing with that, and you're going to need to be in a study. I don't like false hope. I don't like false hope. What was the question? Chris, I am with you. Spammers, grr. Okay, the question was, what is the nervous system? When I say, we got to calm the nervous system, we got to deal with the nervous system, what is the nervous system? Sandra, I really kind of agree with your answer that our nervous system is our feelings. Not the answer that I was looking for, but I think that there is a lot of legitimacy in that. Shannon said, wait, here it is, the brain, the spinal cord, and all the nerves together, and ding, 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 she is the winner. Can't seem to remove her from the big group. Okay, well, if you could hide her messages, and then as soon as I'm done with the live, I will see if my big daddy, I own the group, can make that happen. Yes, Dottie, our nervous system is connected to all of our senses, touch, taste, smell, etc. Yes, it is. The nervous system, okay, let's be really, really real. Without a nervous system, we don't have a life. We don't breathe, we don't walk, we can't balance, we can't coordinate anything, we can't pick up. Well, hi, Pam, you're actually watching us sort of live. You're just a little delayed. But without a nervous system, we can't do anything. We don't have a heartbeat. We don't breathe. We can't feel hungry. We don't crave coffee. Bless it. So we need the nervous system to do everything. So I hate. You're going to hear me say this all the time, but I hate the language that has formed around chronic pain and the idea that it's in our heads, right? Well, only because that's where our brains live. If our brains were located in our gluteus maximus, the pain would be in our gluteus maximus, and then it'd actually be accurate for a lot of us. How about that? But yes, it is your brain, it is your spinal cord, and it is all your peripheral nerves. That's all the little nerves that go out, and the nervous system carries information. It carries information up to the brain. The brain does a bunch of complicated processes, decides what to do with that information, and then sends signals down. Down signals are things like your heart beating. It is things like control to be able to pick up an item, right? The coordination that we have. Your nervous system controls things like resting tone. How much tension is in your body at any given time when you're asleep, when you're awake, when you're producing movement, right? For a lot of us, our nervous systems are holding too much tone and we feel tight all the time because an entity that needs to run needs to be coiled so that it can recoil, right? So that tension makes us ready to spring. For any of you that have cats, have you watched your cat if it's going to stalk something? It crouches, right? It looks super tense, or at least our little Tigger does. And it's down and it's crouching, and then it's going to spring and it's going to release all that energy. Problem with chronic pain is we never seem to release the energy. We're just all tied up in that constant crouch and ready position. And so that is what tends to be the situation in people that feel chronically tight. You just feel like your muscles are tight all the time. Another word for that is guarding. And the nervous system controls that, not some tissue injury or muscle imbalance. And while the pokey tools can help, they help some people. For some people, pressure into tense muscle will help relax it. There's no such thing as releasing muscles, because if we released muscles, then our butts would fall apart from the pressure that we put sitting on them, and people would fall apart when we like shook their hands or gave them hugs. So just think about that. Like, there's no special hand touch to release muscles. What's happening is your nervous system is being calmed and you're being relaxed by the massage. And if that's the case, then that means it doesn't have to be a special person. Special people, special kind people that we like, that we feel safe around, absolutely help us to relax these guarding mechanisms, but they aren't necessary. And I will tell you, when I realized I could ask a kid to rub sore spots, or I could ask a friend that isn't necessarily like manual therapy inclined to help rub out sore things, oh my gosh, that was such a relief in and of itself, because I wasn't worried that I was going to get hurt by somebody that didn't know what they were doing. And it saved me tons of money, which was really, really hard to come by when I was in pain during those years. So I hope that is helpful. Okay. I have gone out of order this morning, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, so I think one of the things that we need to get into a little bit is what fills up the cup when we're in chronic pain. What are things that are in the cup that we can get rid of so that we can get better, right? Because this is all in the spirit of getting our lives back. We want to live richer, fuller, more meaningful lives and not have this pain constantly in our face, right? So when we are in chronic pain, oh my God. Spam a lot. When we are in pain, we're easily distracted by like spam comments on the internet. So when the pain is really bad, think of it like, take a piece of paper, take your phone, take whatever, and you're going to put it right up against your face, right? When the pain is so bad, it's the only thing we can think of, and it's the only thing we can see. If I put this up against my face, I can't see anything beyond it. All I can see is the book, and I'm hoping you're able to hear me through this. If I can get a little, even just a little space from that pain, that I believe that it can get better if I change the way that I'm approaching it, all of a sudden I can see some of my pin boards and the edge of the bed and like my calm down jar and my mug. And if I get even more space, I can see more of the room. Now the size of the pain hasn't changed. The book is exactly the same size, but it starts to get smaller and it matters less the more that I can see. It's exactly the same way for you guys. It is perspective at its best, right? So if I stop focusing on getting rid of the pain and I start focusing on getting my life back, the pain is going to change. It's going to change because you're starting to do things that are actually going to calm your nervous system, which is taking care of you, instead of being angry at this pain and like the only thought being, I have to get rid of this pain. Now, there are people in the pain world that would say you should never say the word pain, you should ignore the word pain, you shouldn't write it, you shouldn't think it, you shouldn't talk about it. I'm going to suggest that's really unhealthy. I'm going to suggest that's really unhealthy. And I believe, at least several years ago, that was really Mayo Clinic's deal with their $40,000 3-week program. You could pay $40,000 for 3 weeks and they would tell you not to think about your pain and help you with pacing and physical therapy and some other things. But we think about the pain because it's disrupting our lives. And as women, we live in a different world than men do. And we're really told not to look out for ourselves, not to ask for our needs to be met, not to care for ourselves. We're supposed to care for everyone else, but we're not supposed to care for us. And so I'm going to suggest that the route of completely ignoring pain like you don't have it and it's not disrupting your entire life and causing you much grief and sadness is a great way to make sure that your pain will continue and that you'll continue to need medical intervention, because in trying not to think about it, you're going to think about not thinking about it. So yes, it is true that our bodies, our brains will respond to what we think about the most. And you can see this if I say, hey, I want you to think about anything but a pink elephant in a tutu standing in the middle of your room, dancing on a blue drum. So you can think about anything else but a pink elephant dancing in a tutu on a blue drum standing in the middle of your room. Is anybody succeeding in not thinking about the pink elephant in the tutu standing on the blue drum? The more I talk about it, it's a lovely elephant. Maybe it's a dwarf elephant. Maybe it's like Dumbo. Ooh, that's going to be one of the next blog posts, is Dumbo and his magic feather, and how that applies to those of us in pain. I do love me a little Disney, as you can tell. But yeah, we need to talk about the pain and what it's taken and how angry we are and how grieved we are and how gaslit we felt and how alone we feel. And if we're not able to talk about those things in a safe space, I think it's harder to heal. So that is my personal opinion. That is not based on any particular research paper. That is based on me watching women in pain for the last 12 years and seeing that we get better in community, seeing that we get better when we start to talk about the things that hurt us. And when we Sandra, I told you I love you. The heffalump from poo is what she's picturing now. I can't talk. Somebody help. Send help. Yes. Yeah. So it's a very friendly elephant standing in Sandra's living room. But yeah, I think we need a safe place to really talk about how pain has impacted our lives, and it's impacted our dreams, and it's impacted the way that we thought we were going to function as mothers and wives and sisters and friends and co-workers and creative beings, right? We had dreams, and it is very likely that pain has interrupted those. And I think until we take a little bit of time to mourn that and to deal with that appropriately, it just keeps us angry. And if you're here and you're with me and you followed me very much, you probably also don't love expressing anger. And we've got to figure out how to do that to get healthy. So what else is in the cup? We know that the scans are in the cup. We've talked about inflammation from lack of sleep. We've talked about inflammation from feeling lonely. We've talked about it from what we eat. Are we well hydrated? Not being properly hydrated can lead to increase in pain. So are you drinking your water? You're basically a very fancy house plant. Are you drinking your water? What other stressors do you have as part of your system? For me, I know that these things called ACE scores, adverse childhood events, can impact like how big our cup is, how much is already in it. And adverse childhood events can be things like, it's not actually on the list, but I think being adopted should be on the list because that is a special, that's a special thing. My parents were super loving. They were very caring. They wanted a child. I felt very wanted by my parents, but I also felt abandoned by my birth mom. Not her fault. I did end up meeting her later in life. She was a fantastic woman, but I kind of always had this low grade feeling like people were just going to leave me because I wasn't good enough. And I was in my like late 30s before I identified that. So let's be real. I didn't wander through life knowing that. Like that was some counseling that finally brought that out. But that's not a very safe feeling when you feel like everybody you love could leave you. That's not a particularly secure situation to be in. So now, is that why I had chronic pain? Well, no, that's ridiculous. That's just something, that's one piece that sensitized my nervous system. It's one piece that made chronic pain more likely for me. For those of you that don't know my story, I was sexually abused as a teen, and I'm okay. Everything's fine. He did jail time. It was as good of a situation as you can ask for in that situation, I suppose. But I was constantly scared that somebody was going to find out the secret. I was worried that he was going to kill himself when I cut off contact. I was thankful for my injury because it kept me from having to go home. And then it got worse when I had to let go of my scholarship because I was still in pain and I couldn't, well, they told me I couldn't swim. We didn't actually try, but that's a different type of story. But then because of this injury, I had to start going home for treatments with the physical therapist, which meant that I was back in contact with him, and all of that was in my cup. In my cup, man. That's a lot of crap in the cup. And it made me more prone to sensitivity, if you will. My body was on the constant lookout for dangers because existentially I was in danger. My physical body wasn't, but my emotional body was. And I think we downplay the effects of having addicted parents, of having instability in our parents' relationship or in their parenting, or food insecurity, or maybe you grew up poor, or you grew up with violence. Maybe your life was idyllic and none of those things happened, except your parents had very different parenting styles. One was very strict, the other was very loose, and you didn't know what was going to happen based on your actions. That's a kind of insecurity that our nervous systems don't love, and so they develop learning to protect us, learning to stay on the lookout for dangers. And it doesn't have to be, you know, horrors that make a great book, right? It doesn't have to be stuff like that. The definition of trauma is a situation that you were not equipped to be able to get out of. For some people, that is the feeling that they couldn't miss school because they weren't going to get the attendance award and then their parents would have been disappointed. That's enough. Feeling like you need to get it right all the time. Being a perfectionist. These are other things that sensitize the nervous system that people don't think about as trauma. They don't like to talk about as trauma. And that's fine. I just say we tear the bandage off. Call it stress. Call it an inconvenience. You call it whatever you want. Just know when I'm talking about trauma, I mean all of the things that you felt ill-prepared to be able to get out of. Because that puts your nervous system into fight or flight. That starts a chemical cascade that sensitizes the literal nerves. So when we think about fight or flight, we think about adrenaline and cortisol. Those are usually the two big chemicals that we think about. And those chemicals bathe our nerves and make our nervous system more aware. So we talked a little bit day 1 and day 2 about being extra sensitive to things. That's because your nervous system it's wound up really high and it's picking up itty bitty teeny weeny things. So we need to unwind the nervous system and make it feel safe. And again, that's a super general term for about a million different things. but we need to feel safe inside our bodies and outside of our bodies, so in our environments, in order to start to take things out of the cup. We're never going to take our childhoods out of our cup, right? We're never going to take that crappy ass boss that rides our ass hard out of our cup, right? Because the economy is absolutely insane and we need the jobs that we have. And so we can't quit even though we know it would be better for us. So we got to find other ways to cope. We got to find meaning elsewhere. And it's becoming more and more and more important in our environment of society, like the societal environment that we are living in 2024. So, can we get better? Heck yeah, we can unpack the cup. We can make the cup bigger. Making the cup bigger are things like being more compassionate with ourselves. I mentioned the word should earlier, and I said we'd talk about that. And one of the things that we go over in Moving Beyond Pain is this idea that we have to stop shoulding on ourselves. Well, I should have gotten up earlier. I should have cleaned the house. I should have been able to pack the lunch, do the job, get my PT done, do my meditation, do my stretches. And, I should have been able to do all those things, but I didn't. Instead, what I did was I read a chapter in a book that I really enjoy because I haven't read in forever. Okay, maybe reading the freaking chapter in the book was way more important than all the rest of that crap. Physical therapy exercises are great. They are not going to solve most chronic pain problems. Because if they were going to, you wouldn't be here because you've been through therapy. How many times? Do me a favor, put in the comments how many like rounds of physical therapy. Not like I went, like I can't even count. I probably had 100 rounds of physical therapy. You would think that an intelligent person would have gone, you know what? Maybe I don't need another 101st round. Maybe I'm good, right? So like whether you went for 6 weeks at a time or 8 weeks at a time or 4 weeks, whatever that grouping was before you got discharged, that's what I'm saying is a round. So I'm curious how many rounds of physical therapy you think you've had. I may go try to add that up later. I don't think I can. I mean, post-op, I stayed with my physical therapist for 9 months, and that was ridiculous. Sandra, I am feeling you at 20 or more. I'm going to suggest, I don't know, maybe we should stop after like 3? I don't know, unless we're going in every once in a while for like maintenance or like new exercises, because there are really good physical therapists out there that will give you a series of exercises and be like, great, go do these until they're not hard anymore, and then come back and I'll give you more. If it's somebody that you're working with like that, you can keep going. Like, I'm pleased as punch to have you do that. Sandra, yeah, yes, the massage feels good. And it's nice when insurance pays for it, but when insurance doesn't pay for it, it's really expensive. And I would suggest if massage is the only reason that you're, not you specific, but if massage is the only reason that you're going to physical therapy, you might be able to get that cheaper from a massage therapist or your spouse or your friend or whoever. But we can talk about that in one-on-ones. Tomorrow, I will be putting up a link for you to use if you so choose. If you have not yet had a consult with me for free, I would love to do a one-on-one with you. And as we finish with material today and tomorrow, I want to meet with you to talk about your next step. That does not have to include me. That is not the point of this call. I will answer questions about how you can work with me, but I want to make sure you know what your next step is. That is the point of the call. It is called a breakthrough call. And the point is, I want to make sure you know what you're doing next so that you can get better. Because the answer is yes, you can get better, but you need a plan. You need a plan. That plan does not have to include me. It can. I'm here for you. But you need a plan. So tomorrow I will be dropping the link for that, so that we can chat and we can figure out what you're going to do next. Right now, I guess I just want to say that I know, as I have learned from the behavioralists and I have learned from the psychologists, that I built a beautiful bonfire for my pain to like live in. And I did have some of those ACE events. And I was stressed. And I did feel isolated. And I wasn't sleeping. And, my diet would turn to crap. And I wasn't moving regularly. I never smoked. But that's another thing that makes healing harder. I felt horribly misunderstood. I felt horribly isolated. I couldn't do any of the things that I loved. I wasn't the woman that I wanted to be. I wasn't the friend that I wanted to be. I wasn't the mother that I wanted to be. I wasn't the daughter that I wanted to be. I was 100% focused on getting rid of the pain, which left no room for any of those other things. I felt helpless and I had no plan to get better. I had the makings of a bonfire that would become my chronic pain and would feed my chronic pain over those 20 years. And I have a feeling that many of you are in this boat too. Now, you don't have to have all those things. I just had a really big bonfire. But the reality is, if my bonfire was that big and I could tame it, I'm going to guess you can too. I am. I'm going to guess that you can too. We don't choose to learn pain. It is something that happens. We don't choose to learn helplessness because we've been in pain. It is the logical conclusion from all that we have been through. Because we've been at this how many years now? Go ahead and put in the comments how many years you have been struggling with your pain. How many years have you been struggling with pain and you've been told, oh, this thing will help, and then you try that thing and then it doesn't help? They call it learned helplessness. I say, what else are we supposed to do? Like, I find it insulting that it's called learned helplessness. I understand that it's a psychological term and that it's Skinner and all that and operant conditioning, and it's part of that whole mindset, and I get that. But if we've gone to all of the people that we're supposed to go see, and we've done all the things that we're supposed to do, and we still haven't gotten help, and we're still in pain, I think it's ridiculous to think that we would think anything else other than we can't be helped and kind of give up. And so I am asking you to hope just a little bit. And I know that's very scary, but I'm asking you to hope a little bit that any of these things that I have mentioned, if they got a little bit better and the pain went back a little bit from view, that you could have more of your life back. I promised you that I was going to talk about clowns and coffee, and I really didn't. But my coffee shop story is the idea that when something bad keeps happening over and over and over again, we begin to expect it. So if I'm walking to the coffee shop and a scary clown keeps jumping out at me, I'm going to become afraid that that clown is going to jump out as I walk to the coffee shop. And then when that clown is inconsistent, I'm going to stay afraid because I don't know when it's going to come and when it's not. And so I'm going to alter my route to the coffee shop. I might start to carry things that will protect me. I probably am going to think about not going to the coffee shop at all because I'm tired of dealing with this scary-ass clown. That is what pain and continuing to seek treatment that doesn't help, that's what that starts to feel like. It's no good. One of the other things about the nervous system that I think is really important to consider is that it works whether things are quote unquote real or not, right? So, okay. So, my guy loves watching scary movies right before Halloween. So every October we watch new scary movies, and I kind of thought that because we're like in our 5th year of this, that maybe there wouldn't be any more scary movies for him to find. Nope, he did. Still found more scary movies. And he really likes the like thrillers, like not like the stabby jabbies, but like the intense psychological thrillers. And it is now a joke that we keep telling each other during these scary movies to keep breathing, right? So think about, most people in this group are not scary movie watchers, and I understand that. Lou, I'm looking at you. But think about the last like intense movie that you watched or scary movie that you watched, and think about how your body felt. Your body was in fight or flight because, well, if the movie was well done, because of the music, because of the scene, because of the lighting, because of the dialogue. But you were that cat, ready. You were tense. You were holding maybe your breath. You were holding your muscles. Freddy Krueger is not in your house. Jason Bourne, that's a whatever. The SEAL Team 6 is not in your house. Like, nobody's coming to hurt you, right? You know you're watching a movie, but your body is responding as though you are in real danger. It's no different in chronic pain. That's how our bodies can respond as though something is actually wrong, right? Because we swear to God something's got to be wrong with as bad as we feel. But the reality is no, it doesn't, because we watch movies and we go on thrill rides at amusement parks for that thrill, for that adrenaline drop, because we want the thrill of it all, right? And we forget that we put ourselves in situations where our bodies go through this all the time because it's kind of fun when we can control it. Well, it's no different with you in chronic pain. Your brain is watching a scary movie, and we need to turn the scary movie off so that you're going to be okay. So how am I going to heal? Well, you're going to build a bigger cup. You're going to take stuff out of your cup. You're going to understand your story. You're going to figure out what no longer serves you in your behavior, in your thoughts, in your postures, in your movements, in your relationships. You're going to find support so you're not alone. You're going to be a chatty Cathy in this group, making connections with people. You're going to comment on other people's ideas, other people's thoughts, so they know they're not alone. And you're going to be the light in their life. You're going to look at your diet. Maybe you're going to change something, maybe you're not. Maybe you're just going to add protein and water. You're going to deal with thinking that's become overly focused on your pain. You're going to take the time to grieve and to mourn. You're going to stop shoulding all over yourself. You're going to breathe. You're going to create. You're going to rest. I wrote a blog post with the 7 different types of rest that I will pull up to the top so you all can read that, because there's a bunch of different types of rest that we need. We're going to learn boundaries, and then we're going to figure out how to enforce them so we stop getting hurt. We're going to heal. We're going to create safety inside and out. And we're going to get regular movement. And if that sounds overwhelming, maybe a little. But that's why we're going to take it bit by bit. That's why I'm here. That's why blog posts come out every week. That's why I try to go live as much as I can. That's why I want people in this community talking. And if you can't put it together yourself, I am here for you as your coach. to help you one-on-one or to help you in a group setting, which I will be honest, I think is far more valuable. Whether you hop in on one of my 8-week group sessions or you hop in on the 6-month group program, I think people heal faster and better in those group programs. I really wish the naysayers in my ads would see this, but like, put together a group of people on your own and like do it yourselves. I like, get better. I just want you to get better. If I can be a part of that, that's really, really great. I mean, this is my livelihood and that's fine and all, but at the end of the day, I want you to get better. So maybe that means you need a psychologist. Maybe that means you need a group of friends that don't suck. Maybe that means that Sandra needs to start charging her friends for being their unlicensed psychologist. But we need more balance in our lives. And you can have that. I know the world is rigged against us right now, especially as women. But you can balance your life and find yourself again. Pain should not take anything more from you. We're going to learn after we've grieved, after we've mourned, because there's no point in learning to live alongside something that you're super angry at and hate. So we're going to do that. We're going to make sense of our stories and we're going to make peace with this is where we're at today. And we're going to move forward from that. We're going to heal because we deserve it. We're going to heal because we've been told a bunch of lies by a patriarchal medical society, and I really feel like I need to go watch the Barbie movie. It's not easy being a woman. And you know, more women are in chronic pain than men. Did you know that? Did you know most autoimmune diseases, which seemingly come from too much stress, that's one working theory out in research world, but they're more common to women. We need to stop fighting our bodies, our minds, our medical system, and we need to begin to take care of ourselves. Because when we take care of ourselves, the pain will take care of itself. We got to stop pleasing others. We got to stop putting everybody else before ourselves. We have to stop believing that there's nothing more that can be done and that your life is going to suck till you're dead. Because it's not. There is so much life out there. You guys, with chronic fatigue out the ass, where I was having to rest like every 20 minutes for like an hour, right? So I had an hour of rest for 20 minutes of work. I was still in my garage refinishing furniture because it's about what's important. It's about what's important. You have to figure out who you are again. And when you are determined to protect the woman that you want to be, your nervous system begins to calm. One of the goals of somebody in the group was, I don't want to call them out because I didn't ask for permission beforehand, but the goal was, how do I remember that it's important to calm my nervous system? Like, how do I stay on top of that? And my answer to that is, if not being trapped by life is important, if not being trapped by your situation is important to you, you will remember that you need to work on this, that you need to work on finding yourself again, because you're important. You're so important. You're important to the people around you. You're important to me. You're important to the other people in this group. You are uniquely and wonderfully created to be you. And I'm tired of seeing pain and our medical system steal that from people. So let's revolt. Let's show them that we can still be important and we can still be us and we can still be beautiful and we can be brilliant and maybe have pain and need to do things differently. What do you think? Nervous systems, time to calm them? Time to deal with our shit. Time to make some boundaries. Time to look at more than just the tissue. All of the things I mentioned today are part of nociplastic pain. They are the reason that doctors can't fix that. You can't fix abandonment fear in a 15-minute consult. Screwing my pelvis together did not make my husband pay more attention to me. That's why he's my ex-husband now. That's a great story that maybe we can talk about in private. Well, not private, but we can talk about that later. But I will say that my pain drastically reduced after my divorce and carrying all of the things that I carried in that marriage. I hate that that's true. And I'm not saying divorce your spouse. I am not saying that. I'm saying in my case, the divorce, as hard as it was, and as like all of the crap that I had to work through, because I am a Bible-believing Christian woman. I, at the time, felt like divorce wasn't something that I should do, which is why I stayed in my marriage for so long, and I have a different opinion on that now. But I stayed in a crappy, unsafe situation because it was harming me because I thought I had to. And so I will also offer part of your cup, maybe some religious trauma, especially if you grew up in the purity culture of the 90s. Hi. Hi. Yeah. I'm the problem. It's me. No, but there's solutions to all of this. And it sometimes it's movement, sometimes it's somatic. If you've heard about somatic exercise, that's really just figuring out how to be present in your body. Because most of us in pain, we don't like to be present in our bodies. We'd rather be up in our heads thinking about things because it feels safer there than in our bodies. And I'm, so maybe it's going to be that. Maybe for somebody else, it's going to be counseling. Maybe for somebody else, it's going to be journaling. Hang on, we got another book. So I wrote this book called Uncovering You, 52 journaling prompts to help you find yourself again. It's super simple. This is not a complicated journal. Let's see if we can see this. It's one question and a bunch of space to write. It's available on Amazon. I believe in making pretty things that are helpful. So, So Uncovering You is a cheap way to start to figure out who you are, what you want out of life. And once you figure that out, well, then we make a plan and we go for it. We figure out how we start walking again. We figure out how to sit again. We figure out how to get to the gym, how to go to roller derby, how to do whatever it is you want to do. That's what we're going to figure out. That's what I do as a coach. That's my job. My job is to get super creative and help you figure out how to do the things that you want to do while getting you through the emotional part. So that's what I do as a chronic pain coach. That's my job. But I leave you with this. Is this a simple fix? Well, no. I mean, yes, it is. Identify the change, identify what's in your cup and start to make changes. Is it a quick fix? No. It took us time to get here, and it's going to take us time to get out of here. But that doesn't mean we have to wait to live until we've got it all figured out, because nobody would be living if we just waited to figure it out. What questions do you have for me today? We were a little all over the place. I'll follow my notes more carefully tomorrow. But wow. Wow, is anybody else seeing all of the spam, or are Rebecca and I hiding that quickly enough? Oh, I got to announce, okay, while you guys are coming up with actual questions, I'm going to repeat again, Adrian Coleman, you are our winner. You are our winner. And your homework, I completely bombed on writing down the homework. Oh, what was your biggest aha today? That is your homework, is to answer what was your biggest aha today, I believe. And that should be dropping in the group right now as we speak. But even if you're watching replay and you're like, but I don't understand, drop it in the questions. It really helps if you tag me, like if you type my name, Amy Bush Eicher, and it highlights, then I absolutely won't miss it. I'm going to have to go back to the doctor on that arm, and I am not happy about that. For anybody that saw me wince. Yeah, it's good times. 8 weeks. 8 weeks is the end of January. I will go back to the doctor in February. Tomorrow, be sure that you can get comfortable when you're listening. We're going to do a little breath work, and I'm going to show you a little bit of progressive muscle relaxation, and then I'm going to point you over to my YouTube videos where you can do like the whole thing of that, but I want to give a bunch of samples of things that we can do to calm the nervous system. And we're going to talk about happy bites, and I know happy bites are Sandra's favorite thing, and Chris is just learning about them, and I'm hoping they're her favorite thing. So we're going to learn about happy bites tomorrow. Happy bites. And I said I was going to pull up the 7 types of rest. I said I was going to pull that up for you. I have to write things down anymore because my brain just won't hold them. Still waiting on questions that aren't miracle pharmaceutical companies. Sandra says, yes, happy bites. For those of you that have been hanging around me for a while, you better have a list of happy bites that you already have, and I want you to be adding to them. 7 types of rest. And in your workbook, which is pinned at the top of the group and in the guides section in the group, and I can post again if you guys can't find it. Just comment workbook if you can't find it, and I'll come through and I'll drop the link for you all. But there is a little quiz. There's a little quizzy quiz, and it's an inventory, and it's about how likely it is that your pain is neuroplastic. So take that little quiz, and if you want to direct message me your number, we can talk more about that. If you want to post it in the group, you're welcome to do that. I just understand that some people like to be private. And thank you for spending this very, very ADHD time with me. I feel like my neurospiciness was out in full bore today because I do love this topic. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about how. It's going to be super practical in the hows. And I'm also going to explain what my Moving Beyond Pain program is. And the doors will open to that. I will only be accepting 10 candidates this year. So if you are considering that, please know that I think it's going to be a full group this year. So if you are considering it, now is your year. You should probably just go ahead and pull the trigger on that. And I will be detailing more for those that have no idea what I'm talking about tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Practical things, happy bites, and what in the world Amy keeps talking about as far as moving beyond pain is. That is for tomorrow. I hope to see you all. Drop your questions, and as always, I will continue to answer them. I truly love each and every one of you very dearly, and I hope that you have a phenomenal Wednesday. I'm going to go put a fire in my fireplace now and make sure that the email's ready to go out tonight. Love you all. Bye.